by like 15%.
Hey, how do you do that thing where you see everybody again?
Yeah, you can. You can only get forwarded twice. We can't do it on ours, but if we had the app, we could do it.
Olivia, this boy talking is called Ruben, and he reminds me so much of Trevor.
Hi, Ruben.
15%.
Hey, how do you do
I
that
took
thing
this
where you
picture
see
and
everybody
sent to
again?
Alessandro and Trevor today. Trevor
You
said
can.
really
You can.
Pretty sure these are talking.
Okay.
they think they are chasing a cat in a dream. But the dog was not running or asleep. The dog was dead.
Get away from my dog!
There was a garden fork sticking out of the dog. The dog was called Wellington. It belonged to Mrs. Shears, who was our friend. She lived on the opposite side of the road, 2 houses to the left.
Get away from my dog!
Christopher takes 2 steps away from the dog.
My name is Christopher John Francis Boone. I live at 36 Randolph Street, Swindon, Wiltshire, and I know all the countries of the world and capital cities, and every prime number up to 7,507.
Get away from my dog, for Christ's sake!
Christopher puts his hands over his ears. He closes his eyes. He rolls forward. He presses his forehead onto the grass. He starts groaning.
After 12.5 minutes, the police arrived. He had a big orange leaf stuck to the bottom of his shoe, which was poking out from one side. This is good, Christopher. It's quite exciting. I like the details. They make it more realistic.
A policeman enters. He has a big orange leaf stuck to the bottom of his shoe, which is poking out to one side. He squats next to Christopher.
He squatted down next to me. He said to me,
Christopher stops groaning.
Would you like to tell me what's going on here, young man?
Christopher lifts his head from the ground. There is some time. Christopher looks at the policeman. There is some time.
I do not tell lies. Mother used to say that this was because I was a good person. But it is not because I am a good person. It is because I can't tell lies.
The dog is dead.
I got that far.
I think someone killed the dog.
How old are you?
I'm 15 years and 3 months and 2 days.
And what precisely are you doing in the garden?
So I'm talking with you.
Okay, why were you in the garden in the first place?
I was holding the dog.
Why were you holding the dog?
I like dogs.
Did you kill the dog?
I did not kill the dog.
You seem very upset about this. I'm going to ask you once again.
Christopher starts groaning.
Terrific.
Christopher carries on groaning.
Young man, I'm going to ask you to stop making that noise and to stand up, please, calmly and quietly.
Christopher carries on groaning.
Marvelous. Great. Just flipping.
The policeman tries to lift him up by his arm. Christopher screams. He hits the policeman. The policeman stares at Christopher. For a while, the two look at one another, neither entirely sure what to say or quite believing what has just happened.
I'm arresting you for assaulting a police officer. I strongly advise you to get into the back of the police car because if you try any of that monkey business again, you stupid idiot, I'm going to seriously lose it. Is that understood?
2. School.
I find people confusing. This is for 2 main reasons. The first main reason is that people do a lot of talking without using any words. Siobhan says that if you raise one eyebrow, it can mean lots of different things. It can mean, I want to do sex with you. And I never said that.
Yes, you did.
I didn't use those words, Christopher.
You did, on September 12th last year, at first break.
It can also mean, I think that what you just said was very stupid.
3. Police station.
Could you empty your pockets onto the desk, please?
Is that in case I have anything in them that I could use to kill myself or escape or attack a policeman with?
The duty sergeant looks at him for a beat.
That's right.
I've got a Swiss Army knife, but I only use that for doing odd jobs, not for stabbing things or hurting people.
It's really good.
Christopher empties his pockets.
A piece of string. His voice 5.
I don't know, but that's a good accent you got there.
Thanks.
Who's voice 5?
Simmer Jones.
Oh. I haven't been able to hear her this whole time.
I think it's because she's streaming. Can someone who's not reading do 5? Because I'm 6.
A piece of wooden puzzle.
A piece of wooden puzzle.
3 pellets of rat food for Toby, my pet rat.
£1.47. This was made up of a £1 coin, a 20p coin, 2 10p coin, a 5p coin, and a 2p coin.
A red paper clip.
A key for the front door.
A Swiss Army knife with 13 attachments, including a wire stripper and a saw and a toothpick and tweezers.
Could you take Could you take your watch off, please, Christopher?
No.
I'm sorry, Christopher.
I need my watch to know exactly what time it is.
Give it here, lad.
Christopher screams.
All right, son. You keep it. Do you have any family, Christopher?
Yes, I do.
And who is your family?
Father and mother, but mother is dead, and also Uncle Terry, who is in Sunderland. He is my father's brother, and my grandparents too, but 3 of them are dead, and Grandma Burton is in a home because she has senile dementia and thinks I'm someone on television.
Right. Lovely. Do you know your father's phone number, Christopher?
4. Police station. Christopher turns to Ed. Ed looks at him. Ed holds his hand out in front of him with his fingers stretched. Christopher does the same. They touch fingers, then let go.
I could see the Milky Way as they drove me towards the town center.
Could you?
Some people think the Milky Way is a long line of stars, but it isn't. Our galaxy is a huge disk of stars, millions of light years across. For a long time, scientists were puzzled by the fact that the sky is dark at night, even though there are billions of stars in the universe.
Is that right?
Christopher, Mr. Boone, could you come this way, please?
Are you going to interview me and record the interview?
I don't think there will be any need for that. I've spoken to your father, and he says you didn't mean to hit the policeman. Did you mean to hit the policeman?
Yes.
But you didn't mean to hurt the policeman.
No, I didn't mean to hurt the policeman. I just wanted them to stop touching me.
You know that it's wrong to hit a policeman, don't you?
I do.
Did you kill the dog, Christopher?
I did not kill the dog.
Do you know that it is wrong to lie to a policeman, and that you can get into a very great deal of trouble if you do?
Yes.
Do you know who killed the dog?
No.
Are you telling the truth?
Yes, I always tell the truth.
Right. I'm going to give you a caution.
Is that going to be on a piece of paper, like a certificate I can keep?
No. A caution means that we are going to keep a record of what you did, that you hit a policeman, but that it was an accident, and that you didn't mean to hurt the policeman.
But it wasn't an accident.
Christopher, please.
If we get into any more trouble, we will take out this record and see that you have been given a caution, and we will take things much more seriously. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
5. School.
The second main reason I find people confusing is that people often talk using metaphors. These are examples of metaphors.
I am going to seriously lose my shit.
He was the apple of her eye.
They had a skeleton in the cupboard.
We had a real pig of a day.
The dog was stone dead.
The word metaphor means carrying something from one place to another, and it is when you describe something by using a word from something that it isn't. This means that the word metaphor is a metaphor. Well, that's clever.
It's true.
Yes. I think it should be called a lie, because a pig is not like a day, and people do not have skeletons in their cupboards. And when I try to make a picture of the phrase in my head, it just confuses me, because imagining an apple in someone's eye doesn't have anything to do with liking someone a lot, and it makes you forget what the person was talking about.
6. Home. Christopher turns to Ed.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't kill Wellington.
I know. Christopher, you have to stay out of trouble, okay?
I didn't know I was going to get into trouble. I like Wellington, and I wanted to say hello to him, but I didn't know that someone had killed him.
Just try and keep your nose out of other people's business.
I'm going to find out who killed Wellington.
Were you listening to what I was saying, Christopher?
Yes, I was listening to what you were saying. But when someone gets murdered, you have to find out who did it so that they can be punished.
It's a bloody dog, Christopher. A bloody dog.
I think dogs are important too. I think some dogs are cleverer than some people. Nicholas, for example, who comes to school on Thursdays, needs help eating his food, and he probably couldn't even fetch a stick.
Leave it.
I wonder if the police will find out who killed him and punish the person.
I said leave it, for God's sake.
Are you sad about Wellington?
Yes, Christopher, you could say that. You could very well say that.
7. Home.
Mother died 2 years ago. I came home from school one day and no one answered the door, so I went and found the secret key that we keep under the flower pot outside the kitchen window. I let myself into the house and I wiped my feet on the mat. I put the key in the bowl on the table. I took my coat off and hung it by the side of the fridge so it would be ready for school the next day, and gave 3 pellets of rat food to Toby, who was my pet rat. I made myself a raspberry milkshake and heated it up in the microwave. Then I went up to my bedroom and turned on my bedroom light and played 6 games of Tetris and got to level 38, which was my fourth best ever score. An hour later, Father came home from work.
Christopher, have you seen your mum?
No.
He went downstairs and started making some phone calls. I did not hear what he said. Then he came up to my room and said that he had to go out for a while and he wasn't sure how long he would be. He said that if I needed anything, I should call him on his mobile phone. He was away for 2.5 hours. When he came back, I went downstairs.
I'm afraid you won't be seeing your mother for a while.
Why not?
Your mother has had to go into the hospital.
Can we visit her?
No.
Why can't we?
She needs rest. She needs to be on her own.
Is it a psychiatric hospital?
No, it's an ordinary hospital. She has a problem with her heart.
I'll make her a get well card. If I make her a get well card, will you take it in for her tomorrow?
8. School.
How are you today, Christopher?
I'm very well, thank you.
That's good.
In the bus on the way to school, we passed 4 red cars in a row.
4?
So today is a good day.
Great. I'm glad.
I decided I'm going to try and find out who killed Wellington, because a good day is a day for projects and planning things.
Who's Wellington?
Wellington is a dog that used to belong to my neighbor, Mr. Shears, who was our friend. But he is dead now because somebody killed him by putting a garden fork through him. And I found him, and then a policeman thought I killed him. But I hadn't, and then he tried to touch me, so I hit him. And then I had to go to the police station.
Gosh.
And I'm going to find out who really killed Wellington and make it a project, even though Father told me not to.
Did he?
Yes.
I see.
I don't always do what I'm told.
Why?
Because when people tell you what to do, it is usually confusing and does not make sense. For example, people often say, be quiet, but they don't tell you how long to be quiet for.
No. Why did your father tell you not to try and find out who killed Wellington?
I don't know.
If your father's told you not to do something, maybe you shouldn't do it. Well, we're meant to be writing stories today, so why don't you write about what happened to Wellington?
Okay, I will.
9. Home.
Christopher, I'm sorry. Your mother's died. She had a heart attack. It wasn't expected.
What kind of heart attack?
I don't know what kind of heart attack. Now isn't the moment, Christopher, to be asking questions like that.
It was probably an aneurysm.
I'm sorry, Christopher. I'm really sorry.
10. Street. Mrs. Shears' house is assembled.
That evening, I went round to Mrs. Shears' house and knocked on the door and waited for her to answer it.
Mrs. Shears answers the door. She is drinking a cup of tea.
What are you doing here?
I wanted to come and tell you that I didn't kill Wellington. And also, I want to find out who killed him.
Christopher, I really don't think I want to see you right now.
Do you know who killed Wellington?
If you don't go now, I will call the police again.
11. School.
Reverend.
Reverend Peters, where is heaven?
I'm sorry, Christopher.
In our universe, whereabouts is it exactly?
It's not in our universe. It's another kind of place altogether.
There isn't anything outside our universe, Reverend Peters. There isn't another kind of place altogether, except there might be if you go through a black hole. But a black hole is what is called a singularity, which means it's impossible to find out what it is on the other side because the gravity of a black hole is so big that even electromagnetic waves like light can't get out of it. And electromagnetic waves are how we get information about things which are far away. And if heaven is on the other side of a black hole, then dead people would have to be fired into space on a rocket to get there. And they aren't, or people would have noticed.
Reverend Peters looks at him for a while before he responds.
Well, when I say heaven is outside our universe, it's really just a manner of speaking. I suppose what it really means is that they are with God.
But where is God?
Christopher, we should talk about this on another day when I have more time.
12. Streets.
Next day was Saturday, and there's not much to do on a Saturday unless Father takes me out somewhere on an outing, or to the boating lake, or to the garden centre. But on this Saturday, England were playing Romania at football, which meant that we weren't going to go on an outing because Father wanted to watch the match on television. So I made a decision. I decided to do some detection. I decided to go out on my own. I do not like strangers, so talking to other people in our street was brave. But if you are going to do detective work, you have got to be brave. So I had no choice.
Can I help you?
Do you know who killed Wellington?
Who?
I'm Christopher Boone from number 36, and I know you. You're Mr. Thompson.
I'm Mr. Thompson's brother.
Do you know who killed Wellington?
Who the hell is Wellington?
Mrs. Shears' dog. Mrs. Shears is from number 39.
Someone killed a dog?
With a fork.
Jesus Christ.
A garden fork. Do you know who killed him?
I haven't a blood.
Do you see anything suspicious on Thursday evening?
Look, son, do you really think you should be going around asking questions like this?
Yes, I do, because I want to find out who killed Wellington, and I'm writing a book about it.
Well, I was in Colchester on Thursday, so you're asking the wrong bloke.
Thank you for helping me with my investigation.
It's Christopher, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Do you know who killed Wellington?
No, I don't. No, I'm sorry.
Did you see anything suspicious on Thursday evening which might be a clue?
Like what?
Like strangers, or the sound of people arguing.
Perhaps you should be talking to your father about this.
I can't talk to my father about it because he told me to stay out of other people's business.
Well, maybe he has a point, Christopher.
So you don't know anything that might be a clue?
No. You be careful, young man.
I will be. Thank you for helping me with my investigation. Do you know who killed Wellington?
Bloody hell. Policemen really are getting younger, aren't they?
Mr. Wise laughs. Christopher walks away.
2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29, 31, 37, 41, 43, 47, 53, 59, 61, 67, 71, 73, 79, 83, 89, 97. Do you know anything about Wellington getting killed?
I heard about it yesterday. Dreadful, dreadful.
Do you know who killed him?
No, I don't.
Somebody must know, because the person who killed Wellington knows that they killed Wellington. Unless they were a loony person and didn't know what they were doing, or unless they had amnesia.
You're Christopher, aren't you?
Yeah, I live at number 36.
We haven't talked before, have we?
No, I don't talk to strangers, but I'm doing detective work.
I see you every day, going to school on your school bus. When I'm walking my dog, it's very nice of you to come and say hello, even if you're only even if it's only because you're doing detective work.
Thank you.
I have a grandson your age.
My age is 15 years and 3 months and 3 days.
Well, almost your age. You don't have a dog, do you?
No.
You'd probably like a dog, wouldn't you?
I have a rat.
A rat?
He's called Toby.
Oh.
Most people don't like rats because they think that they carry diseases like bubonic plague. That's only because they lived in sewers and stowed away on ships coming from foreign countries where there were strange diseases. But rats are very clean.
Do you want to come in for tea?
I don't go into other people's houses.
Well, maybe I could bring some tea out here. Do you like lemonade?
I only like orangeade.
Luckily, I have some of that as well. And what about Battenberg?
I don't know because I don't know what Battenberg is.
It's a type of cake. It has marzipan icing round the edge.
Is it a long cake with a square cross section that can be divided into equally sized, alternately colored squares?
Yes. I think you could probably describe it like that.
I think I'd like the pink squares, but not the yellow squares because I don't like yellow, and I don't know what marzipan is, so I don't know whether I'll like that.
I'm afraid marzipan is yellow too, but I should bring out some cookies instead. Do you like cookies?
Yes, some sort of cookies.
I'll get a selection.
She goes into her house. He waits. Then before she gets back. 13. School.
She moved very slowly because she was an old lady, and she was inside the house for more than 6 minutes, and I began to get nervous because I didn't know her well enough to know whether she was telling the truth about getting orangeade and Battenberg cake. And I thought she might be ringing the police, and then I'd get in much more serious trouble because of the caution. So I walked away.
The company cheer as if her goal has been scored.
Why would you kill a dog?
I wouldn't.
I think you would only kill a dog if you hated the dog. If A, you hated the dog, or B, if you were a lunatic, or C, because you wanted to make Mrs. Shears mad. I don't know anybody who hated Wellington, so if that was A, it was probably a stranger. I don't know any lunatics either, so if it was B, it was probably a stranger.
Right.
But most murders are committed by someone who's known to be the victim. In fact, you are most likely to be murdered by a member of your family on Christmas Day.
Is that a fact?
Yes, actually, it's a fact. Wellington was therefore most likely to have been killed by someone known to him. I only know one person who didn't like Mrs. Shears, and that is Mr. Shears, who divorced Mrs. Shears and left her to live somewhere else and who knew Wellington very well indeed. This means that Mr. Shears is my prime suspect.
Christopher.
I am going to find out more about Mr. Shears.
14. School office.
Mr. Boone, nobody has ever taken an A-level examination in the school before.
He can be the first then.
I don't know if we have the facilities in the school to allow him to do that.
Then get the facilities.
I can't treat Christopher differently to any other student.
Why not?
Because then everybody would want to be treated differently.
So?
It would set a precedent. Christopher can always do his A-levels later, when he's 18, which is, after all, the age everyone else takes their A-levels.
Christopher's getting a crap enough deal already, don't you think? Without you shitting on him a great height as well. Jesus, this is the one thing he's really good at.
We can talk about this later, maybe on our own.
Are there things which you're too embarrassed to say to me in front of Christopher?
No, it's not that.
Say them now, then.
If Christopher takes an A-level, then he would have to have a member of staff, a supervisor, looking after him on his own in a separate room.
I'll pay for it. They can do it after school. Here, 50 quid. Is that enough?
Mr. Boone.
I'm not going to take no for an answer.
Ed turns to Christopher. 15. Home.
Where have you been?
I've been out.
I have just had a phone call from Mrs. Shears. What the hell were you doing poking around her garden?
I was doing detective work, trying to figure out who killed Wellington.
How many times do I have to tell you, Christopher? I told you to keep your nose out of other people's business.
I think Mr. Shears probably killed Wellington.
I will not have that man's name mentioned in my house.
Everybody on stage pauses to look at Ed and Christopher.
Why not?
That man is evil.
Does that mean he might have killed Wellington?
Jesus swear. Okay, Christopher. I'm going to say this for the last and final time. I will not tell you again. Look at me when I'm talking to you, for God's sake. Look at me. You're not to go asking Mr. Shears who killed the bloody dog. You're not to go asking anyone who killed that bloody dog. You are not to go trespassing on other people's gardens. You are to stop this ridiculous bloody detective game right now. I'm going to make you promise me, Christopher. And you know what it means when I make you promise.
16. Home.
I think I would make a very good astronaut.
Yes, mate, you probably would.
To be a good astronaut, you have to be intelligent, and I'm intelligent. You also have to understand how machines work, and I'm good at understanding how machines work.
You also have to be someone who would like being on their own in a tiny spacecraft thousands and thousands of miles away from the surface of the Earth, and not panic or get claustrophobia or homesick or insane. And I really like little spaces, so long as there's no one else in them with me.
I noticed.
Sometimes I want to be on my own. I get to the laundry room and slide in between the boiler and pull the door closed behind me and sit there and think for hours. And it makes me feel very calm.
I would have to be an astronaut on my own or have my own part of the spacecraft that no one else could come into. And also, there are no yellow things or brown things in the spacecraft, so that would be okay too. And I would have to talk to other people from mission control, but we would do that through a radio link up and a TV monitor. So it wouldn't be like real people who are strangers. It would be like playing a computer game.
Which you like?
Also, I wouldn't be homesick at all because I'd be surrounded by lots of things I like, which are machines and computers and outer space. And I would be able to look out of a little window in the spacecraft and know that there was no one else near me for thousands and thousands.
Christopher.
What?
Could you please just give it a bit of a break, mate? Please?
And know that there was no one else near me for thousands and thousands of miles, which is what I sometimes pretend at night in the summer when I go and lie in the lawn and look up at the sky and put my hands around the sides of my face so I can't see the fence and the chimney and the clothesline. And I could pretend I'm in space. And all I could see would be stars. And stars are the places where the molecules that life is made of were constructed billions of years ago. For example, all the iron in your blood, which stops you from being anemic, was made in a star. And I would like it if I could take Toby with me into space. And that might be allowed because they sometimes do take animals into space for experiments. So if I could think of a good experiment you could do with a rat that didn't hurt the rat, I could make them let me take Toby. But if they didn't let me, I would still go because I would be a dream come true.
17. School.
Father said.
I see. That's a pity.
So the book is finished.
Well, Christopher, if your father said he wanted you to stop, then I think he probably has a good reason, and I think you should stop. But you can still be very proud because of what you've written so far. Well, it's just great. It's not a proper book. Why not? It doesn't have a proper ending. I never found out who killed Wellington, so the murderer is still at large. Not all murders are solved. Not all murderers are caught. Father said I was never to mention Mr. Shears' name in our house again, and that he was an evil man. And maybe that meant he was the person who killed Wellington. I think you should do what your father tells you to do.
18. The street.
What happened to you the other day? I came out again and you'd gone. I had to eat all those biscuits myself. I was looking forward to our little chat.
I don't do chatting. I don't like it.
No, I don't suppose you do. Do you like computers?
Yes, I like computers. I have a computer in my room.
I know. I can see you sitting at your computer in your bedroom sometimes when I look across the street.
And I like maths and looking after Toby. And I also like outer space, and I like being on my own.
I bet you're very good at maths, aren't you?
I am. I am going to do an A-level maths next month, and I am going to get an A star.
Really? A-level maths?
I'm the first person to take an A-level from my school because it's a special school. All the other children in my school are stupid, except I'm not meant to call them that. Even school. All the other children at my school are stupid, except I'm not meant to call them that, even though that is what they are.
Well, I am very impressed, and I hope you do get an A star.
I will.
And the other thing I know about you is your favorite color is not yellow.
No, and it's not brown either. My favorite color is red and metal color. Do you know Mr. Shears?
Not really, no. I mean, I knew him well enough to say hello, but I didn't know much about him. I think he worked in the National Westminster Bank in town.
Father said that he is an evil man. Do you know why he said that?
Perhaps it would be best not to talk about these things, Christopher.
Why not?
Because maybe your father is right, and you shouldn't go around asking questions about this.
Why?
Because obviously he is going to find it quite upsetting.
Why is he going to find it quite upsetting?
I think you know why your father doesn't like Mr. Shears very much.
Did Mr. Shears kill Mother?
Kill her?
Yes. Did he kill Mother?
No, of course he didn't kill your mother.
But did he give her stress so that she had died of a heart attack?
I honestly don't know what you're talking about, Christopher.
Or did he hurt her so that she had to go into a hospital?
Did she have to go into hospital?
Yes, and it wasn't very serious at first, but she had a heart attack when she was in the hospital.
Oh my goodness.
And she died.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Christopher, I am so sorry. I never realized.
Why do you say, I think you know why your father doesn't like Mrs. Shears very much?
Oh, dear. Christopher, look. Perhaps we should take a little walk in the park together. This is not the place to be talking about this kind of thing.
19. Park.
I'm going to say something to you, and you must promise not to tell your father that I told you this.
Why?
Christopher, please, just trust me.
I promise.
Your mother, before she died, was very good friends with Mr. Shears.
I know.
No, Christopher, I'm not sure you do. I mean that they were very good friends. Very, very good friends.
Do you mean that they were doing sex?
Yes, Christopher, that is what I mean. I'm sorry, Christopher. I really didn't mean to say anything that was going to upset you.
Is that why Mr. Shears left Mrs. Shears? Because he was doing sex with someone else? And when he was still married to Mrs. Shears?
Yes, I expect so.
I think I should go now.
Are you okay, Christopher?
I can't be on my own with you because you are a stranger.
I'm not a stranger, Christopher. I'm a friend.
20. School. Ed finds Christopher's book on the kitchen table.
You told your father about this?
No.
Are you going to tell your father about this?
No.
Ed goes to the book. There's a tone. He begins reading Christopher's book.
Did it make you sad to find out?
Find what out?
Did it make you sad to find out that your mother and Mr. Shears had an affair?
No.
Are you telling the truth?
Yes, I always tell the truth. It didn't make me feel sad because Mother is dead, so I would be feeling sad about something that isn't real and doesn't exist, and that would be stupid.
What was your mother like? Do you remember much about her?
I remember the 20th of July, 2008. I was 9 years old. It was a Sunday. We were on holiday in Cornwall. We were on the beach in a place called Papero. Mother was wearing a pair of shorts made out of denim and a stripy blue swimming costume. And she was smoking menthol cigarettes, which were mint flavor. And she wasn't swimming. She was sunbathing on a towel, which had red and purple stripes. And she was reading a book by Georgette Heyer called The Masqueraders. And then she finished sunbathing and went into the water, and she said,
Bloody Nora, it's cold.
21. Beach.
Bloody Nora, it's cold. And she said I should come and swim too. But I didn't like swimming because I don't like taking my clothes off. And she said I should just roll my trousers up and walk into the water a little way. So I did, and Mother said,
Christopher, look, it's lovely.
And she jumped backwards and disappeared under the water, and I thought a shark had eaten her, and I screamed, and she stood up out of the water and came over to where I was standing and held up her right hand and spread out her fingers like a fan.
Come on, Christopher, touch my hand.
Yeah.
Come on now. Stop screaming, touch my hand. Listen to me, Christopher, you can do it. It's okay, Christopher, it's okay. There aren't any sharks in Cornwall.
When we were inside the park, Mrs. Alexander stopped walking and said, I'm going to say something to you, and you must promise not to tell your father that I told you this. Your mother, before she died, was very good friends with Mr. Shears.
Another time she used to say,
If I hadn't married your father, I think I'd be living in a little farmhouse in the south of France with someone called Jean. And he'd be, a local handyman, doing painting and decorating for people, gardening, building fences. And we'd have a French bulldog and a veranda with figs growing over it. And there would be a field of sunflowers at the bottom of the garden and a little town on the hill in the distance. And we'd sit outside in the evening and drink red wine and smoke French cigarettes and watch the sun go down.
22. Home.
What is this?
Christopher looks at Ed.
It's a book I'm writing.
Is this true? Did you speak to Mrs. Alexander?
Yes.
Jesus, Christopher, how stupid are you? What did I tell you, Christopher?
Not to mention Mr. Shears' name in our house, and not to go asking Mrs. Shears or anyone about who killed that bloody dog, and not to go trespassing on other people's gardens, and to stop this ridiculous bloody detective game. Except I haven't done any of those things. I just asked Mrs. Alexander about Mr. Shears because I was doing chatting.
Don't give me that bollocks. You knew exactly what you were bloody doing. I've read the book, remember? What else did I say, Christopher?
I don't know.
Come on, memory man. Not to go around sticking your nose into other people's business. And what did you do? Oh, and what do? You go around sticking your nose into other people's business. You go around digging up the past and sharing it with every Tom, Dick, and Harry you bump into. What am I going to do with you, Christopher? What the fuck am I going to do with you?
Ed throws Christopher's book.
I was just chatting with Mrs. Alexander. I wasn't doing investigating.
I ask you to do one thing for me, Christopher. One thing.
I didn't want to talk to Mrs. Alexander. It was Mrs. Alexander who...
Ed grabs Christopher's arm. Christopher screams. Ed and Christopher tussle. Ed hits Christopher hard. Christopher falls. Ed stands above him.
I need a drink.
He goes and picks up the book. He leaves. He comes back without the book.
I'm sorry I hit you. I didn't mean to. I love you very much, Christopher. Don't ever forget that. I worry about you because I don't want to see you getting in trouble. Because I don't want you to get hurt.
Where's my book?
Christopher, do you understand that I love you?
Ed holds his right hand up and spreads his fingers out in a fan. Christopher does the same with his left hand. They make their fingers and thumbs touch each other.
It is in the dustbin at the front of the house.
23. Map of the house.
The next day when I got home from school, Father was still at work, so I went outside, and I looked inside the dustbin. But the book wasn't there. I wondered if Father had put it into his van, and driven it to the dump, and put it in one of those big bins there. But I did not want that to be true, because then I would never see it again. One other possibility was that Father had hidden my book somewhere in the house, so I decided to do some detecting to see if I could find it. I started by looking in the kitchen. Then I detected in the laundry room. Then I detected in the dining room. Then I detected in the living room, where I found my missing wheel from my Airfax Messerschmitt BF 109G6 model under the sofa. Then I went upstairs, but I didn't do any detecting in my own room because I reasoned that Father wouldn't hide something from me in my own room unless he was being very clever and doing what is called a double bluff, like in the real Mr. Murder Mystery novel. So I decided to look in my own room, only if I couldn't find them anywhere else. I detected in the bathroom, but the only place to look was in the medicine cabinet, and there was nothing in there, which meant the only room left to detect was in Father's bedroom. I started by looking under the bed. There were 5 shoes and a comb with lots of hair in it, and a monkey wrench and a chocolate chip cookie and a magazine called Men Only, and a pair of underpants from TJ Maxx with a little bit of pee left in them, and a Scooby-Doo tie and a wooden spoon, but not my book. Then I looked in the drawers on either side of the dressing table, but these only contained aspirin and nail clippers and batteries and dental floss and tissues and a spare false tooth and a tampon. But not my book wasn't there either. Then I looked in his wardrobe. In the bottom of the wardrobe was a long... Oh, I lost my place. Was a long plastic toolbox which is full of tools for DIY, which means doing it yourself. But I could see these without opening the box, which is made of transparent grey plastic. Then I saw that there was another box underneath the toolbox. The other box was an old cardboard box that is called a shirt box because people used to buy shirts in them. But I opened the shirt box. Oh, sorry.
You're good. Just continue.
Okay. And when I opened the shirt box, I saw my book was inside it.
Christopher finds this book.
Then I heard Father's fan pulling up outside, and I knew that I had to think fast and be clever. I heard Father shutting the door of the van. And that is when I saw the envelope. It was an envelope addressed to me, and it was lying under my book in the shirt box with some other envelopes. I picked it up. It had never been opened.
Finds the envelopes.
It had never been opened. It said,
Christopher Boone, 36 Randolph Street, Swindon, Wiltshire.
Then I noticed there were lots of envelopes, and they were all addressed to me, and this was interesting and confusing. And then I noticed how the words Christopher and Swindon were written. They were written like this.
Christopher Swindon.
And I only know 3 people who do little circles instead of dots over the letter I. And one of them is Siobhan. And one of them is Mr. Loxley, who used to teach at school. And one of them was Mother.
24. Back to reality.
Christopher?
Hello.
So what have you been up to, young man?
Today we did life schools with Siobhan, which was using money and public transport, and I had tomato soup for lunch and 3 apples. And I practiced some maths in the afternoon, and we went for a walk in the park with Mrs. Peters and collected leaves from making collages.
Excellent, excellent. What do you fancy for chow tonight?
Baked beans and broccoli.
I think that can be very easily arranged. I'm just going to put those shelves up in the living room, if that's all right with you. I'll make a bit of a racket, I'm afraid, so if you want to watch television, we're going to have to shift it upstairs.
I'll go and be on my way in my room.
Good man.
So I went into my room, and when I was in the room, I shut the door and took out the envelope. I opened the envelope. Inside there was a letter, and this was what was written in the letter.
451C Chapter Road, Williston, London, NW2 5NG 0208 887 8907. Dear Christopher, I was looking through some old photos last night which made me sad. Then I found a photo of you playing with the train set we bought for you a couple of Christmases ago. And that made me happy because it was one of the really good times we had together. Do you remember how you played with it all day and you refused to go to bed at night because you were still playing with it? We told you about train timetables. You made a train timetable and you made the train run on time. And there was a little wooden station too. And we showed you how people who wanted to go on the train went to the station and bought a ticket and then got on a train. And you played with it for weeks and weeks and weeks. I liked remembering that a lot. You haven't written to me yet, so I know that you are probably still angry with me. I'm sorry, Christopher, but I still love you. I hope you don't stay angry with me forever, and I'd love it if you were able to write me a letter. I think about you all the time. Lots of love, your Mum.
I was really confused. Mother had never written me a letter before, and Mother had never lived in London. I looked at the front of the envelope, and I saw there was a postmark, and there was a date on the postmark, the 16th of October 2013, which meant the letter was posted 18 months after Mother had died. When I started writing my book, there was only one mystery to solve. Now there were 2. I decided that I would not think about it anymore that night because I didn't have enough information and I could easily leap to the wrong conclusions.
He lies down on the floor and curls himself up into a ball. 25. Night. Night falls. Morning rises. 26. School. The next day, Christopher comes home from school.
You're soaking.
Yes.
Give me your coat. I'll hang it up. How was school?
It was good, thank you. Joseph Fleming took his trousers off and went to the toilet all over the floor of the changing room and started to eat it, but Mr. Davis stopped him.
Good old Mr. Davis, eh?
Joseph eats everything.
Does he?
He once ate one of those little blocks of blue disinfectant which hang inside the toilets. And he once ate a 50-pound note from his mother's wallet. And he eats string and plastic rubber bands and tissues and writing paper and paints and plastic forks. Also, he bangs his chin and screams a lot.
I know how he feels, Christopher. Oh, I know how he feels. Christopher, I have to go out.
Why?
I've just had a call. There's a lady. Her cellar has flooded. I've got to go out and fix it.
Is it an emergency?
Yes, mate.
Is it raining very heavily?
It is.
The rain looks like white sparks.
Christopher, if I go out, will you be okay?
Yes. I will because there's no one around because everybody's staying indoors.
Good. 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 Good, lad.
I like looking at the rain.
Terrific.
I like it because it makes me think how all the water in the world is connected.
Does it?
This water, this rain has evaporated actually from somewhere like maybe the Gulf of Mexico, maybe, or Baffin Bay. And now it's falling in front of the house.
I'll have my mobile with me.
Yes.
So you can call me if there's a problem.
Yes.
Behave yourself, Christopher, yeah?
Yeah.
Ed exits.
So I went into his bedroom and opened up the wardrobe and lifted the toolbox off the top of the shirt box and opened the shirt box. I counted out the letters. There were 43 of them. They were all addressed to me in the same handwriting. I took one and opened it. Inside was this letter.
As Judy reads, so Christopher begins to assemble his train set. His building becomes frantic, at times almost balletic. Balletic?
Balletic.
Balletic.
Like a ballet.
451C Chapter Road, London. NW2 5NG 0208 887 8907. Dear Christopher, I said that I wanted to explain to you why I went away when I had the time to do it properly. Now I have lots of time. So I'm sitting on the sofa here with this letter and the radio on, and I'm going to try and explain. I was not a very good mother, Christopher. Maybe if things had been different, maybe if you'd been different, I might have been better at it. But that's just the way things turned out. I'm not like your father. Your father is a much more patient person. He just gets on with things, and if things upset him, he doesn't let it show. That's not the way I am. And there's nothing I can do to change it. Do you remember once when we were shopping in town together and we went into Bentl's and it was really crowded and we had to get a Christmas present for Grandma and you were frightened because of all the people in the shop and you crouched down on the floor and put your hands over your ears and you were in the way of everyone, so I got cross because I don't like shopping at Christmas either. And I told you to behave, and I tried to pick you up and move you. But you shouted, and you knocked those mixes off the shelf, and there was a big crash. And everyone turned round to see what was going on, and there were boxes and bits of string and bits of broken bowl on the floor, and everyone was staring, and I saw that you had wet yourself. And I was so cross, and I wanted to take you out of the shop, but you wouldn't let me touch you, and we just had to wait until you stopped screaming. And I remember that night, I just cried, and cried, and cried, and your father was really nice about it at first, and he made you supper and put you to bed, and he said these things happen, and it would be okay. But I said I couldn't take it anymore. And eventually he got really cross. And he told me I was being stupid. And said I should pull myself together. And I hit him. Which was wrong, but I was so upset. We had a lot of arguments like that. And after a while we stopped talking to each other. Very much. Because we knew it would always end up in an argument. And I felt really lonely.
And that was when I started spending lots of time with Roger.
And that was when I started spending lots of time with Roger. And I know you might not understand any of this, but I wanted to try to explain so that you knew.
We had a lot in common, and then we realized that we were in love with one another.
I said that I couldn't leave you, and he was sad about that, but he understood that you were really important to me.
And you started to shout, and I got cross, and I threw food across the room, which I know I shouldn't have done.
You grabbed the chopping board and you threw it, and it hit my foot and broke my toes.
And afterwards at home, your father and I had a huge argument.
And I couldn't walk properly for a month. Do you remember? And your father had to look after you.
And I remember looking at the two of you and seeing you together and thinking how you were really different with him, much calmer.
And it made me so sad, because it was like you didn't need me at all.
And I think then I realized you and your father were probably better off if I wasn't living in the house.
And Roger asked me if I wanted to come with him.
It broke my heart, but eventually I decided it would be better for all of us if I went.
And so I said yes.
And I meant to say goodbye.
But when I rang your father, he said I couldn't. He was really angry. He said I couldn't.
He said I couldn't talk to you.
And I didn't know what to do.
He said I was being selfish and that I was never to set foot inside the house again.
And so I haven't.
I wonder if you can understand any of this. I know it would be difficult for you.
I thought what I was doing was the best for all of us. I hope it is.
Christopher, I never meant to hurt you.
I used to have dreams that everything would get better. Do you remember you used to say that you wanted to be an astronaut? Well, I used to have dreams where you were an astronaut and you were on television, and I thought, that's my son. I wonder what it is that you want to be. I wonder what it is that you want to be now. Has it changed? Or are you still doing maths? I hope you are. Loads and loads of love. Mother.
Christopher moves to the middle of the track. He crouches down. He rolls himself into a ball. He starts hitting his hands and his feet and his head against the floor as the letter continues. Christopher's thrashing has exhausted him. He has been sick. He lies still for a while, wrapped in a ball.
Christopher? Christopher?
Christopher doesn't respond.
Christopher, what the hell are you doing? These are, oh shit, oh Christ.
Christopher doesn't move or respond. Ed stops himself from crying.
It was an accident.
Christopher doesn't respond.
I don't know what to say. I was in such a mess. I said she was in hospital because I didn't know how to explain. It was just so complicated. And once I'd said that, I couldn't change it. It got out of control.
Christopher doesn't respond. After a time, Ed approaches him. Very, very gently, he touches his shoulder. Christopher doesn't respond.
Oh, Jesus, Christopher, you've got sick all over you. Let's sit you up and get you clothes off and get you into bed, okay? I'm going to have to touch you, but it's going to be all right.
Ed lifts Christopher onto the side of the bed. Christopher doesn't resist or fight at all. Ed takes Christopher's jumper and shirt off. 27. Home.
Look, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I want you to know that you can trust me. Life is difficult, you know. It's bloody hard telling the truth all the time. But I want you to know that I'm trying. You have to know that I'm going to tell you the truth from now on. About everything. Because if you don't tell the truth now, then later on it hurts even more. So, I killed Wellington, Christopher. Just let me explain. When your mom left, Eileen, Mrs. Shears, she was very good to me. She helped me through a very difficult time, and I'm not sure I would have made it without her. Well, you know how she was around here most days, popping over to see if we were okay, if we needed anything. And I thought, well, sister, I'm trying to keep this simple. I thought we were friends, and I guess I thought wrong. We argued, Christopher, and she said some things I'm not going to say to you because they're not nice, but they hurt. But I think she cared more for that bloody dog than for us. And maybe that's not so stupid looking back. Maybe it's easier living on your own, looking after some stupid mutt than sharing your life with another actual human being. I mean, shit, buddy. We're not exactly low maintenance, are we? Anyway, we had this fight. Well, quite a few fights, to be honest. And after this particularly nasty little blowout, she chucked me out of her house. And you know what that bloody dog was like. Nice as pie one moment, roll over, tickle its stomach, sink its teeth into your leg the next. Anyway, we're yelling at each other and it's in the garden. So when she slams the door behind me, the bugger's waiting for me. And I know. Maybe if I just given it a kick, it would probably have backed off. But shit, Christopher, when the red mist comes down, Christ, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, we're not that different, me and you. And it was like everything I'd been bottling up for 2 years. Just promise you, I never meant for it to turn out like this.
Ed holds his right hand up for Christopher to touch. Christopher ignores it. Ed stares at Christopher.
Okay. Look, Christopher, I'm sorry. Let's leave it for tonight, okay? I'm going to go downstairs and you get some sleep and we'll talk in the morning. It's going to be all right. Trust me.
Ed leaves. Christopher groans. He starts counting.
2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 4096, 4096, 4096.
Father had murdered Wellington. That meant he could murder me. I had to get out of the house. I made a decision. I did this by thinking of all the things I could do and deciding whether they were the right decision or not.
Stay home.
I decided I couldn't stay home anymore.
Christopher, please.
No, because I can't live in a house with you anymore because it is dangerous. I can't go and live with you because you can't look after me when school's closed.
I could try and...
No, because you're a teacher.
Yes.
Not a friend or a member of my family.
You could go and live with your Uncle Terry.
You live in Sunderland. I don't know how to get to Sunderland.
Get a train. Get the train from Swindon.
Also, you smoke cigarettes and you stroke my hair. You're not a friend either.
I think I am a friend.
No, and I can't stay overnight in your house or use the toilet because you used it and you're a stranger.
I'm not really a stranger, Christopher.
Yes.
451C, Chapter Road, London, NW2 5NG. 451C, Chapter Road, London, NW2 5NG. 451C, Chapter Road, London, NW2 5NG.
Christopher looks at Judy.
451C, Chapter Road,
London, NW2 5NG.
Light falls. End of part 1.
Interval! Ice cream for everybody!
Yes! Outside interval.
Do we want to take a 10-minute break?
Yeah, I think that.
Christopher, I want to ask you something. Mrs. Gascoyne wondered if we would like to do a play this year. She decided, she asked me to ask everybody if we'd like to make some kind of performance for the school. Everybody could join in and play a part in it.
I think it would be a good thing for everybody to join in and play a part in it.
I was wondering if you'd like to make a play out of your book.
No.
I think it could be really good fun, Christopher.
It could be really good fun.
No. It's a book and it's for me, and not everybody, just for me.
I know that, but a lot of people would be interested in what would happen if people took your book and started acting bits out of it.
No. I don't like acting because it is pretending that something is real when it is not really real at all. So it is like a kind of lie.
But people like stories. Some people find things which are kind of true and things which are made up. You like your Sherlock Holmes stories, and you know Sherlock Holmes isn't a real person, don't you? I would help you if you were worried about that.
No.
I think I'd rather like to take the part of a policeman.
You're too old to be a policeman.
Christopher! Christopher!
Company move into the space and watch Ed. Christopher hides. Nobody gives Ed a clue as to where Christopher is. After a while, he gives up. 29 Street. Then Christopher comes out. He is holding Toby in his cage.
No.
Christopher, what on earth has happened to you?
Can you look after Toby for me?
Oh.
He eats special pellets, and you can buy them from a pet shop. And he needs fresh water every day, too.
Why do you need somebody to look after Toby, Christopher?
I'm going to live with...
I thought you told me your mother was dead.
I thought she was dead, but she was still alive, and Father lied to me. And also, he killed Wellington.
Is your mother here?
No, Mother is in London.
So you're going to London on your own?
I think I'm going to do that, yes.
Where's your father at the moment, Christopher?
I don't know.
Well, perhaps we should try and give him a ring and see if we can get in touch with him. I'm sure he's worried about you. I'm sure that there's been a dreadful misunderstanding.
30 Home. Christopher leaves. He goes back to his house. He sees his dad's credit card on the floor. He stares at it, frozen in his tracks. He approaches the card. He takes it, puts it in his pocket.
3558.
3558.
3558.
3558.
3558.
He leaves the house. 31 Swindon. The company makes Swindon Town Center.
Where can I buy a map?
Lady in the street.
Say that again, Shari. We can't hear you.
Where can I buy... Wait, what?
Say it again. Okay.
Where can I buy a map?
A map of where?
I don't know.
Where do you want to get to?
I'm going to the train station.
You don't need a map to get to the station. You can see it from here.
No, I can't.
There. That building says Signal Point on the top. There's a British Rail sign on the other side. Station's at the bottom of that.
Do you mean the stripy building with the horizontal windows that you can see poking out over those houses?
That's the one.
How do I get to that building?
Okay, we're done here.
I knew that the train station was somewhere near. And if something is nearby, you can find it by moving in a spiral, walking clockwise, and taking every right turn until you come back to a road you've already walked on. Then taking the next left, then taking every right turn, and so on. And that was how I found the station.
32 Swindon Train Station. The voices here are pre-recorded.
Customers seeking access to the car park, please use a system phone opposite right of the ticket office.
Warning, CCTV in operation.
Great Western.
Cold beers and lagers.
Caution, wet floor.
Your 50p will keep a premature baby alive for 1.8 seconds.
Transforming travel.
Refreshingly different.
It's delicious, it's creamy, and it's only £1.30. Hot choc deluxe.
0870-777-7676.
The Lemon Tree.
Smoking.
Fine teas.
Automatic fire door, keep clear.
Air conditioned.
Reserved parking.
Open as usual this way.
No smoking.
No alcohol.
Dogs must be carried.
RVP.
Dogs must be carried.
LFB.
A perfect blend.
Royal Mail.
Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Dogs must be carried at all times.
Special lunch offers.
Parking subject to the Railway Bylaws Section 219 of the Transport Act 2000.
Please stand off to the right.
Superb coffee.
Step-free access.
Take extra care with children.
Superb coffee.
Cash dispensers.
Superb coffee.
Dogs must be carried at all times.
You all right there, young man?
You're too old.
Are you all right, young man?
No.
Looking a bit worse for the wear. The lady at the cafe says that when she tried talking to you, you were in a complete trance. What's your name?
Christopher Boone.
Where do you live?
36 Randolph Street.
What are you doing here?
I needed to sit down and be quiet and think.
Okay, let's keep it simple. What are you doing at the railway station?
I'm going to see Mother.
Mother.
Yes, Mother.
When's your train?
I don't know. She lives in London. I don't know when there's a train to London.
So, you don't live with your mother?
No, but I'm going to.
So where does your mother live?
In London.
Yes, but where in London?
451C Chapter Road, London, NW2 5NG.
What is that?
That's Toby, my pet rat.
A pet rat?
Yes, a pet rat. He's very clean and hasn't got any bubonic plague.
Well, that's very reassuring.
Yes.
Have you got a ticket?
No.
So how precisely were you going to get to London then?
I have a bank card.
Is this your card?
No, it's Father's.
Father's.
Yes, Father's.
Okay.
He told me the number. It's 3558.
Shh. Why don't you and I take a stroll to the cash machine, huh?
You mustn't touch me.
Why would I want to touch you?
I don't know.
Well, neither do I.
Because I got a caution for hitting a policeman, but I didn't mean to hurt him. And if I do it again, I'll be in a lot. It'll be a lot worse because of the caution.
Please insert your card.
You're serious, aren't you?
Yes.
Enter your personal identification number.
You lead the way.
Where?
Back to the ticket office.
Please enter amount. £10, £20, £50, £100.
How much does it cost to get a ticket to London?
About 20 quid.
Please wait. Your transaction is being processed.
Is that pounds?
Christ alive. Yep, it's £20.
Please take your card and wait for your cash.
Where do I get a ticket for the train from?
In there.
I want to go to London.
If you don't mind.
I want to go to London.
Single or return?
What does single or return mean?
Do you want to go one way or do you want to come back?
I want to stay there when I get there.
For how long?
Until I go to university.
Single then. That'll be £17.
When is the train to London?
Platform 1, 5 minutes.
Where's platform 1?
Through the underpass and up the stairs. You'll see the signs.
Somebody bumps into Christopher. He barks at them like a dog.
Underpass means tunnel, Christopher. In your head, imagine a big red line across the floor. It starts at your feet and goes through the tunnel. And walk along the line and count the rhythm in your head because that helps, doesn't it? Like when you're doing music and when you're doing drumming. Left, right, left, right, left, right.
Left, right, left, right. Is this the train to London?
33. On the train.
Christopher! Caught you just in time. We've got your father at the police station. He's looking for you.
Christopher tries to run. The policeman grabs him. Christopher screams. The policeman lets go.
Okay, let's not get overexcited here. I'm going to take you back to the police station, and you and me and your dad can sit down and have a little chat about who's going where.
Have you arrested father?
Arrested him? What for?
He killed a dog with a garden fork. The dog was called Wellington.
Well, we can talk about that as well. Right now, young man, I think you've done enough adventuring for one day.
The policeman reaches out to touch him. He screams.
Now listen, you little monkey.
The train begins to move.
Ah, shitting fuck!
Why are you swearing? Have we started? Has the train started?
Don't move. Rob? Yeah, it's Nigel. I'm stuck here on the bloody train. Yeah, don't even. Look, it stops at Didcot Parkway. So if you can get someone to meet me with a car. Cheers. Tell his old man we've got him, but it's going to take a while. Okay? Great. Let's get ourselves a seat. Park yourself. You're a bloody handful, you are. Jeez.
34A. Dream.
I see everything. Most other people are lazy. They never look at everything. They do what is called glancing, which is the same word for bumping off something and carrying on in almost the same direction. And the information in their head is really simple. For example, they are on a train looking out of a window at the countryside. It might be 1.
There are some cows in the field.
2.
It is sunny with a few clouds.
3.
There are some flowers in the grass.
4.
There is a village in the distance.
And then they would stop noticing anything because they would be thinking something else, like,
I wonder if Julie has given birth yet.
Or,
Worries that I might have left the oven on.
Or,
I really want a bag of cheesy Doritos.
but if I am sitting looking out the window of a train on the countryside, I notice everything, like, number 1, there are 19 cows in the field, 15 of which are black and white, and 4 of which are brown and white. Number 2, there are 3 different visible nimbostratus clouds. Number 3, there is a village in the distance which has 32 visible houses. There's a plastic bag in the hedge. No, 2. And a squashed Coca-Cola can with a snail on it. I see 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 different types of grass. The cows are, I can see 4 different. There's a wind blowing from there's a Coca-Cola, there's the snail, the cows are facing.
34B. Back to reality.
Oh, Christ, you're wetting yourself. For God's sakes, go to the bloody toilet, will you?
But I'm on a train.
They do have toilets on trains, you know.
Where's the toilets on the train?
Through those doors there. But I'll be keeping an eye on you, you understand?
No.
Just go to the bloody toilet.
Christopher stands. He walks down the corridor of the train. Shaking, closing his eyes, he pisses. He tries to wash his hand, but he can't because there is no running water. He spits on his hands to wash them. He rubs them dry with toilet paper. Shaking, he leaves the toilet. He goes to the luggage rack. He climbs onto the shelf. He hides himself. He starts listing prime numbers to himself. As he continues to count, the policeman notices he's gone. The counting continues under the following exchanges.
2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29, 31, 37, 41, 43, 47.
Christopher!
59, 61,
Christopher!
71, 73,
Bloody hell.
79, 83, 89, 97, 101, 103, 107, 109, 113, 127, 131, 137, 159, 149, 151, 157, 163, 167, 173, 179, 181, 191, 193, 197, 199, 211, 223, 227, 249, 233,
That's not me anymore.
239, 241, 251, 257, 263, 269, 271, 277, 281.
So the stage direction said, under the following exchanges. But I'm going to read that again. Christopher! Bloody hell.
He leaves. Christopher stays where he is, still counting. A woman approaches him to take her bag.
Good God, you scared me. Can I just get my bag? I think someone's out there on the platform looking for you.
I know.
Well, it's your funeral.
She takes her bag. She leaves. Christopher stays hidden behind the smaller pile of bags, still counting. A posh woman approaches. She takes her bag.
You're touching my bag.
Yes.
She leaves. Christopher stays hidden behind the still smaller pile of bags, still counting. Two drunk men approach to take their bags.
Come and look at this, Barry. I've got, like, a train elf.
Well, we have both been drinking.
We should kidnap him.
He could be our elf mascot.
Oh, come on, shift it, you stupid idiot.
A lady takes her bag. It is the wrong one, she realizes.
Bollocks, that's not my bag.
Another lady runs to grab her bag. She is talking to someone on the platform.
Shari's at the bottom of the lake.
Both ladies take the correct bag and leave Christopher alone. He stops counting. He lies for a while. Looks around. For the first time, he is alone on stage.
I waited for 9 more minutes, but nobody else came past, and the train was really quiet. And I didn't move again, so I realized that the train had stopped. And I knew that the last stop on the train was London. So I got off the train.
Christopher very tentatively gets down off the luggage rack and off the train. 35, platform.
Left, right, left, right, left, right.
Left, right, 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 left, right.
These voices are also recorded.
Sweet pastries.
Heathrow Airport, check in here.
Bagel factory.
Eat.
Excellent in taste.
Yo! Sushi!
Open link.
Buses.
W.H. Smith.
Mezzanine.
Heathrow Express.
Clinic.
First class lounge.
Fuller's.
EasyCar.co.
The Mad Bishop.
And Bear Public House.
Fuller's London Pride.
Dixon's.
R. Price.
Paddington Bear at Paddington Station.
Tickets.
Praxis.
Looking Olivia there. I'm not.
The
I'm not-
first stage.
Eastbourne Terrace.
Way out.
Trade Street.
The Lawn.
Queue here, please.
Olivia, we've been on Parade Street. Upper Crust.
Sainsbury's.
Local information.
Great Western first.
Position closed.
Closed.
Position closed.
Sock shop.
Fast ticket point.
Millie's Cookies.
Coffee.
30 to stay at Manchester United.
Freshly baked cookies and muffins.
Cold drinks.
Penalty fares.
Warning.
Savory pastries.
Platform 14.
Burger King.
Fresh food.
The Reef Cafe Bar.
Business travel.
Special edition.
Top 75 albums.
Evening Standard.
As the course becomes more cacophonous, Christopher finds it is more difficult to continue to walk. Christopher stops, rests his head against the box. He places his hands over his ears. A station guard approaches him.
You look lost.
Christopher pulls out a Swiss Army knife. The guard backs away.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Christopher carries on.
Left, right, left, right, left, right.
He makes his hand into a telescope to limit his field of vision. He approaches an information counter.
Is this London? Is this London?
Indeed it is.
How do I get to 451C Chapter Road, London, NW2 5NG?
Where is that?
It's 451C Chapter Road, London, NW2 5NG. And sometimes you can write it 451C Chapter Road, Willesden, London, NW2 5NG.
Take the tube to Willesden Junction, or Willesden Green. Got to be near there somewhere.
What is it? Tube?
Are you for real? Over there. See that big staircase with the escalators? See the sign? Says underground. Take the Bakerloo line to Willesden Junction or the Jubilee to Willesden Green. You okay?
Don't do this.
Get away from me.
You won't be able to.
I'm doing really well.
Where's your Swiss Army knife? Have you lost it?
It's in my pocket.
Where's your red line gone? See? It's disappeared, hasn't it? How the hell are you going to find the Jubilee line? You don't even know what an escalator is, do you?
It's a moving staircase. You step onto it, it carries you down. It's fun. Look.
Stop laughing.
It's like something out of science fiction.
I'm worried about you.
You're lying. You killed Wellington.
Where are you going?
To watch the people. It's easy. Look, you go to the black machine, you look at where you want to go, you put your money in.
You haven't got any money.
I have. I stole your card.
You little shit.
You go up to the great gate, you put your ticket in the slot.
There's no Jubilee line. How are you going to get to Wilson Green?
There's a Bakerloo line. Look, I can take that to Willesden Junction.
Come back home.
Swindon's not my home anymore. My home is 451C Chapter Road, London, NW2 5NG.
36. Platform. The tube line appears.
Stand behind the yellow line.
I know.
The train will be very noisy.
I know.
It'll really scare you.
I know.
Try not to let it. Watch what the people do. Watch how they get on and off.
Yes.
The company stand with Christopher on the platform.
Count the trains. Figure it out. Get the rhythm right. Train coming. Train stop. Doors open. Train going. Silence. Train coming. Train stop. Doors open. Train going. Silence. Train coming. Train stop.
Doors open. Train going. Silence. Train coming. Train stop. Doors open. Train going. Silence. Train coming. Train stop. Doors open. Train going. Silence. Train coming. Train stop. Doors open. Train going. Silence. Train coming. Train stop. Doors open.
Christopher looks in Toby's cage. He can't find Toby.
Toby? Toby, where are you? Toby! Toby, what are you doing down there? Toby, get back up here this instant. I'm warning you. Right. I'm coming down there. Toby, and when I catch you, I'm going to be very cross.
Oi, what are you doing?
My rat is on here.
Get out of there for goodness sake.
Toby, it's filthy down here. You'll get so dirty.
Oh my days. What is he doing?
What does it look like he's doing?
Call somebody. Get somebody. Don't just stand there.
Mate, please get back up here.
I can't get back up here. I can't get back up there. My rat is on here.
What?
Mate, please, you're gonna get yourself killed.
You're going to have to go down there and get him.
Me? What the hell's this got to do with me?
Can't just let him get hit.
Yes, I know he's a kid. I can see he's a kid by bloody well looking at him. Mate, please, come on.
Toby, stop being so difficult.
I don't believe this is happening. This is ridiculous, mate. Get your ass out of there now.
Tube train starts rumbling.
Don't panic. I found him.
How did you muppet?
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. What the heck do you think you're playing at?
Pardon Toby. He's not
Bloody Nora.
Is he okay?
Him? Oh, thanks a bundle. Jesus Christ, a pet rat. Oh, shit, my train. Fuck.
Man with socks.
Are you okay?
She touches his arm. He screams.
Hey, is there anything I can do to help you?
Stand further away. I've got a Swiss Army knife, and it has a saw blade, and I could cut someone's finger off.
Okay, Butsy, I'm going to take that as a no.
She leaves. Christopher counts the trains again.
Doors open.
Christopher is bundled onto the train. 37, tube train.
Is this train going to Williston Junction?
The voices here are recorded.
There are 53,963 holiday cottages in Scandinavia and Germany.
Vita Biotics.
Is this train going to Williston Junction?
3435.
Penalty £20 fare if you fail to show a valid ticket for your entry journey.
Discover gold, then bronze.
Is this train going to Williston Junction?
TVIC.
EPBIC.
Obstructing the doors can be dangerous.
BRV.
Con IC.
Is this train going to Williston Junction?
Talk to the world!
Warwick Avenue. Maidavale. Kilburn Park. Queen's Park. Kensal Green. Williston Junction.
37, Willingston Junction.
Where is towards the Chapter Road, London, NW2 5NG?
A shoekeeper shows him London A through Z.
A to Z map of London. 595. I'm not a walking encyclopedia.
Is that the A to Z?
No, it's a bloody chihuahua.
Is that the A to Z?
Yes, it's the A to Z.
Can I buy it?
595, but you're giving me the money first. I'm not having you thieving.
Christopher examines the A to Z. He opens it. He looks for Chapter Road.
Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left.
Christopher closes the map. His voice His voice quietens the more he talks. And as he talks, he squats. Then he huddles into a ball. Christopher sits silently huddled for a while. 39, outside Judy's house. Judy and Roger enter.
I don't care whether you thought it was funny or not.
Judy, look, I'm sorry, okay?
Well, perhaps you should have thought about that before you made me look like a complete idiot.
Christopher stands up. Judy sees him. The two look at one another.
You went in, so I waited for you.
Christopher.
What?
Christopher.
She goes to hug him. He pushes her away so hard that he falls over.
What the hell is going on?
I'm so sorry, Christopher.
Judy spreads her fingers. Christopher spreads his to touch his hands with her.
I suppose this means Ed's here.
Where's your father, Christopher?
I think he's in Swindon.
Thank God for that.
But how did you get here?
I came on the train.
Oh my God, Christopher, I didn't think I'd ever... Why are you here on your own? Christopher, you're soaking. Roger, don't just stand there.
Are you going to come in, or are you going to stand out here all night?
I'm going to live with you because Father killed Wellington with a garden fork.
Jumping Jack Christ.
Roger, please. Come on, Christopher. Let's go inside and get you dried off.
Come on then, soldier. We'll catch your death out here.
He doesn't move.
You follow Roger.
Christopher doesn't move. He gives Toby to Roger.
He's hungry. Have you got any food I can give him and some water?
40, inside Judy's house.
Are you okay, Christopher?
I'm tired.
I know, love. I can get you a blanket.
No, don't. I've got a sleeping bag in my backpack.
Will you let me help you get your clothes off? I can get you a clean t-shirt. You could get yourself into bed.
She leaves the bedroom and gets Roger to pass her a t-shirt.
T-shirt. Pass me a t-shirt.
She goes back into Christopher's room and changes him. He wears one of her old t-shirts.
You're very brave.
Yes,
You never wrote to me.
I know.
Why didn't you write to me, Christopher? I wrote you all those letters. I kept thinking something dreadful had happened, or you'd moved away and I'd never found out where you were.
Father said you were dead.
What?
He said you went into the hospital because you had something wrong with your heart. And then you had a heart attack and died.
Oh my God.
She starts to howl.
Why are you doing that?
Oh, Christopher, I'm so sorry.
What's for?
Bastard, that bastard. Christopher, let me hold your hand. Just for once, just for me. Will you? I won't hold it hard.
I don't like people holding my hand.
No. Okay, that's okay.
41, in Christopher's bedroom at Judy's.
I need to speak to him.
He's been through enough today already.
Oh, but I still need to speak to him. Faboon, can you please open the door?
Come on, Christopher.
Christopher, love, it's all right. Just open the door, will you, sweetheart?
Is he going to take me away?
No, Christopher, he isn't.
Will you let him take me away?
No, I won't.
Your father says you ran away, is that right?
Yes.
Is this your mother?
Yes.
Did you run away?
Because father killed Wellington, who was a dog, and so that meant that he could kill me.
So I'm told. Do you want to go back to Swindon to your father, or do you want to stay here?
I want to stay here.
And how do you feel about that?
I want to stay here.
Hang on, I'm asking your mother.
He told Christopher I was dead.
Okay, let's not get into an argument about who said what here. I just want to know whether...
Of course he can stay.
Well, I think that probably settles it as far as I'm concerned.
Are you going to take me back to Swindon?
No. If your husband causes any trouble, just give us a ring. Otherwise, you're going to have to sort this amongst yourselves.
42, middle of the night. Corridor outside Christopher's bedroom.
Oh, I'm sorry, we were muted. I'm talking to her whether you like it or not.
Roger, don't. Just...
I'm not going to be spoken to like that in my own home.
I'll talk to you how I damn well like.
You have no right to be here.
He's my son, in case you've forgotten.
What in God's name did you think you were playing at, saying those things to him?
You were the one that bloody left.
So you decided to just wipe me out of his life altogether?
Now, let's all just calm down here, shall we?
Well, isn't that what you wanted?
I wrote to him every week.
What the fuck use is writing to him?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I cooked his meals. I cleaned his clothes. I looked after him every weekend. I looked after him when he was ill. I took him to the doctor. I worried myself sick every time he wandered off somewhere at night. I went to the school every time he got into a fight. And you, what? You wrote him some fucking letters?
Christopher gets up out of the sleeping bag.
So you thought it was okay to tell him his mother was dead?
Now is not the time.
Christopher finds his Swiss Army knife.
I'm going to see him. And if you try to stop me...
Ed gets into Christopher's room. Christopher points his knife at him. Judy comes in.
It's okay, Christopher. I won't let him do anything. You're all right.
Christopher.
Ed squats down, completely exhausted. Christopher still points the knife at him.
Christopher, I'm really, really sorry. About the letters. I never meant... I promise I will never do anything like that again.
Ed spreads his fingers and tries to get Christopher to touch him. Christopher ignores him. He still holds his knife out. He groans.
Shit. Christopher, please.
Mr. Boone?
What are you doing here? Did you call him?
Boone, come on, mate.
Don't you mate me. This is my son.
I know. This sorted out. Just come with me, please.
Ed, he should go. He's frightened.
I'll be back. Christopher, I'll be back. I promise you, Christopher. I promise you, lad.
Christopher groans. London policeman makes Ed leave. Roger watches them both leave. Judy and Christopher are left alone together.
You go back to sleep now. Everything is going to be all right. I promise you.
They leave Christopher in his room. He lies down, he settles. 43. Judy's kitchen. Immediately he has settled. It is the next morning. Roger and Judy give Christopher breakfast. He is overwhelmed by them.
Okay, he can stay for a few days.
He can stay as long as he needs to stay.
This flat is hardly big enough for 2 people, let alone 3.
He can understand what you're saying, you know.
What's he going to do? There's no school for him to go to. We both got jobs. It's bloody ridiculous.
He gives Christopher a strawberry milkshake.
Roger, that's enough. You can stay as long as you want to stay.
It was Mother who gave me the milkshake.
They look at him.
It was Mother who gave me the milkshake, not you.
Judy picks the milkshake up.
You need to shout more loudly at him, like you're really angry with him, not just being nice.
Judy looks at him, nods.
Okay.
She puts the milkshake down. She's much angrier.
Roger, that's enough. You can stay as long as you want to stay.
She looks at Christopher, examining his response, expecting more feedback.
I have to go back to Swindon.
They both look at him.
Christopher, you've only just got here.
I have to go back because I have to sit my maths A-level.
You're doing maths A-level?
Yes, I'm taking it on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday next week.
God, Christopher, that's really good.
But I can't see Father, so I have to go back to Swindon with you.
I don't know whether that's going to be possible.
But I have to go.
Let's talk about this some other time, okay?
Okay, but I have to go to Swindon.
He stands and leaves.
Christopher, please.
44. London Street at night.
What time is it?
7 minutes past 2 in the morning.
I can't sleep.
It's because you're scared of Mr. Shears. You're being silly.
There's nobody about. You can hear traffic.
Christopher wanders down the street.
What cars are there?
A Fiesta, a Peugeot, a Ford Granada, a Mini Cooper.
What colors are they?
I can't tell. I can only see orange and black, and mixtures of orange and black.
Look at the things people have in their front garden.
Oh, yeah. Is that an elf?
It's a gnome. And a teddy bear. And a little pond. Look.
And an oven. I like looking up at the sky.
Me too.
When you look at the sky at night, you know you are looking at stars, which are hundreds and thousands of light years away from you. And some of the stars don't exist anymore because their light has taken so long to get to us that they are already dead. Or they have exploded and collapsed into red dwarfs. And that makes you seem very small. And if you have difficult things in your life, it is nice to think that they are what is called negligible, which means they are so small you don't have to take them into account. When you are calculating something, I can't see any stars here.
No.
Because all of the light pollution in London, all the light from the street lights and car headlights and floodlights and lights in the buildings reflect off tiny particles in the atmosphere, and they get in the way of the light from the stars.
Christopher?
Judy starts looking for Christopher.
I have to go.
Don't.
I have to.
Christopher?
Siobhan, where are you? Siobhan!
Christopher? Christopher!
Christopher stands up. Judy stares at him.
Jesus Christ, what are you doing out here? I've been looking for you. I thought you'd gone. But if you ever do that again, I swear to God, Christopher, I love you, but I don't know what I'll do. You need to promise me you won't leave the flat on your own again. Christopher?
Christopher, do you promise me that?
Yes.
You can't trust people in London.
45. Hempstead Health.
Would you like an ice lolly?
Yes, I would, please.
Would you like a strawberry one?
Yes, I would, please, because that's red. What's it called here?
It's called Hampstead Heath. I love it. You can see all over London.
Where are the planes going to?
Heathrow, I think. Christopher, I rang Mrs. Gascoyne. I told her that you're going to take your maths A-level next year.
Christopher screams. He throws his iced lolly away.
Christopher, please, calm down. Okay? Okay, Christopher, just calm down, love.
Christopher screams and screams. He only stops because his chest hurts and he runs out of breath. 46. Judy's home. Roger gives Christopher a radio and 3 children's books.
Here we are. You wanted a radio. 100 number puzzles. It's from the library. This one is called The Origins of the Universe. And this one is Nuclear Power.
Yeah, for children.
Well, it's nice to know my contribution is appreciated.
47. Judy's kitchen.
Christopher, I made you a chart because you've got to eat, love. This is a Slim Fast and it's strawberry flavored.
Slim Fast?
Be quiet, Roger. Christopher, if you drink 200 milliliters, then I'm going to put a bronze star on your chart.
I don't believe this.
Roger, for God's sake, please. If you drink 400 milliliters, you get a silver star.
Huh.
And if you drink 600 milliliters, you get a gold star.
A gold star? Well, that's very original, I have to say.
48. Judy's home. Christopher picks up the radio. He leaves. He detunes it so that it is between 2 stations. He listens to the white noise. He turns the volume up very high. Sometime. Roger watches him. He opens and drinks 4 cans of lager. He next the lager in one go. Roger comes into Christopher's room. He is very drunk.
You think you're so clever, don't you? Don't you ever think about other people for 1 second, eh? Well, I bet you're really pleased with yourself now, aren't you?
He grabs at Christopher. Christopher rolls himself into a ball to hide. Judy comes into the room. She grabs Roger. She pulls him away from Christopher. Christopher is moaning, still in his ball.
Christopher, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I promise this will never happen again.
Christopher remains in his ball. He doesn't stop moaning. Judy and Roger leave. Eventually, he calms. 49. Judy's home.
What time is it?
It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
What are you doing? Oh, she's muted.
You're muted, Anna. It's a curious incident of the cat in the nighttime. See, this is why dogs are better.
I disagree. Okay, it got caught. Damn cat. Where was I?
You're packing clothes.
Thank you. I'm packing some clothes.
Where's Mr. Shears?
He's asleep. Come downstairs. Bring Toby. Get into the car.
It's a Mr. Shears car?
That's right.
Are you stealing the car?
I'm just borrowing it.
Where are we going?
We're going home.
Do you mean home in Swindon?
Yes.
Are we going back to Swindon so I can do my maths A-level?
What?
I'm meant to be doing my maths A-level tomorrow.
We're going back to Swindon because if we stay in London any longer, someone is going to get hurt. And I don't necessarily mean you. Now I need you to be quiet for a while.
How long do you need me to be quiet for?
Half an hour, Christopher. I need you to be quiet for half an hour.
50. Home.
How the fuck do you get in here?
This is my house too, in case you've forgotten.
Is your fancy man here as well?
Christopher starts drumming. He drums and drums and drums. Ed and Judy talk inaudibly under the drumming.
Christopher! Christopher! He's gone. You don't need to panic.
Where's he gone to?
He's gone to stay at his friend's house for a while.
Is he going to be arrested and go to prison?
What for?
For killing Wellington.
I don't think so. I think he'll only get arrested if Mrs. Shears presses charges.
What's that?
It's when you tell the police to arrest somebody for little crimes. They only arrest people for little crimes if you ask them.
Is killing Wellington a little crime?
Yes, love, it is. In the next few weeks, we're going to try and get a place of our own to live in.
Can I still take my A level?
You're not listening to me, are you, Christopher?
I am listening to you.
I told you I rang your headmistress. I told her you were in London. I told her you'd do it next year.
But I'm here now, so I can take it.
I'm sorry, Christopher. I didn't know we'd be coming back. This isn't going to solve anything.
51. Street.
Well, look how it is!
Where are we going?
What a nerve, strutting round here as though nothing ever happened.
Ignore her, Christopher.
So he's finally dumped you too, has he?
What is Mrs. Shears doing?
You had it coming. Don't try and pretend that you didn't, because you fucking did.
Where are we going?
We're going to the school.
52. School.
So, you're Christopher's mother.
That's right. And you're...
I'm Siobhan. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah. Yes, it's nice to meet you too.
Oh, hello, Christopher.
Hello.
Are you okay?
I'm tired.
He's a bit upset.
Because of the A level, you said?
He won't eat. He won't sleep.
Yeah. I spoke to Mrs. Gascoyne after you called.
Right.
She still actually has your A-level papers in the 3 sealed envelopes in her desk.
We'll actually have the A-level papers in my desk.
Does that mean I can come to my A level?
I think so. We're going to ring the Reverend Peters to make sure he can still come in this afternoon and be your supervisor. And Mrs. Gascoyne is going to call the examination board to say that you're going to take the exam after all. I thought I should tell you now, so you could think about it.
So I could think about what?
Is this what you want to do, Christopher? If you say you don't want to do it, no one is going to be angry with you, and it won't be wrong or illegal or stupid. It'll just be what you want, and that will be fine.
That's good. I want to do it.
Okay. How tired are you?
Very.
How's your brain when you think about maths?
I don't think it really works very well.
What's the logarithmic formula for the approximate number of prime numbers not greater than x?
I can't think.
53. Exam room. Reverend Peter enters. He picks an envelope. He opens it. He looks at it. He carefully places it face down on Christopher's table. He goes to sit opposite of him. He takes out a stopwatch.
So this is jolly exciting, eh, Christopher? Well, I'm excited anyway. Now, the exam is going to last for 2 hours, Christopher, okay? First thing to do is to pop your name on the front. Okay, young man, are you ready to roll? Turn over the paper, please, Christopher, and begin.
Christopher turns over the exam paper. He stares at it. He can't understand any questions. He panics. His breathing becomes erratic. To calm himself, he counts the cubes of cardinal numbers.
1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 216, 343, 512, 729, 1,000, 1,331.
Are you all right, Christopher?
I can't read the question.
What do you mean?
So I can't read the question.
Can you see the question?
I can see the question, but I can't read the question because when I look at the words, they all seem confused and mixed up and the wrong way to me.
Right.
Ooh, what does this question say?
Christopher, I'm afraid I can't help you like that. I'm not allowed to.
He groans.
Christopher, stop groaning. Get your breath. Count the cubes of the cardinal numbers again.
1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 216, 343, 512, 729, 1,000, 1,331.
Now, have another go.
He looks at the questions again.
Show that a triangle with the sides that can be written in the form n squared plus 1, n squared minus 1, and 2n, where n is greater than 1, is right angled.
You don't have to tell us.
What?
You don't have to tell us how you solved it.
What is my favorite question?
Yes, but it's not very interesting.
I think it is.
Oh, Christopher, people don't want to hear about the answer to a maths question in a play. Look, why don't you tell it after curtain call? When you've finished, you can do a bow, and then people who want to go home can go home. And if anybody wants to find out how you solved the maths question, then they can stay, and you can tell them at the end. Okay?
Okay.
He picks up his pencil. He starts answering. 54. Home. Ed enters. Judy is behind him.
Don't scream. Okay, Christopher? I'm not going to hurt you.
Ed crouches down by Christopher.
I wanted to ask how how the exam went.
Tell him, Christopher. Please, Christopher.
I don't know if I got all the questions right because I was very tired and I hadn't eaten any food, so I couldn't think properly.
Ed nods. There is some time.
Thank you.
What's for?
Just thank you. I'm very proud of you, Christopher. Very proud. I'm sure you did really well.
55. School.
How's your flat?
It's not really a flat. It's a room. It's very small. The corridor's painted brown. Other people use the toilet. Mother has to clean the toilet before I can use it. Sometimes there are other people in there, so I do wet myself. The room smells like socks and pine air freshener. And another bad thing is that Toby died. Because he was 2 years and 7 months old, which is very old for a rat, I don't like waiting for my A-level results.
Yeah.
Mother doesn't get back from work till 5:30, so I have to go to Father's house between 3:49 and 5:30 because I'm not allowed to be on my own. Mother said that I didn't have a choice. I push the bed up against the door in case Father tries to come into my room. Sometimes he tries to talk to me through the door. I don't answer him. Sometimes he sits outside the door quietly for a long time. Can I come and live in your house so that I'll have room to put all my things and I won't have to share the toilet with strangers?
No, Christopher, you can't.
Why can't I? Is it because I'm too noisy and sometimes I'm difficult to control?
No, it's because I'm not your mother.
No.
That's very important. Do you understand that?
I don't know.
56. Home. Ed enters. He's holding a kitchen timer.
You're on mute.
Ed. Play's almost over.
No, I thought it wasn't on mute. I thought I had unmuted it. Sorry. Christopher, can I have a talk with you?
Christopher turns away from Siobhan.
No, you can't. No.
It's okay. I'll be here.
I don't want to talk to Father.
I'll do you a deal. 5 minutes, okay? That's all.
Ed sets a timer for 5 minutes. It starts ticking.
Christopher, look, things get going like this. I don't know about you, but this just hurts too much. You have to learn to trust me, and I don't care how long it takes. If it's a minute one day, and 2 minutes the next, and 3 minutes the next, and it takes years, I don't care. Because this is important. This is more important than anything else. Let's call it a project. A project we have to do together. And I have to show you that you can trust me. And it will be difficult at first because it's a difficult project. But it'll get better, I promise. And I've got you a present to show you. That I really mean what I say. And to say sorry. And because you'll see what I mean.
Ed leaves. He comes back with a big cardboard box. There's a blanket in it. He puts his hands in the box. He takes out a little sandy-colored golden retriever.
He's 2 months old. Christopher, I would never ever do anything to hurt you.
The dog sits on Christopher's lap.
You won't be able to take him away with you, I'm afraid. The flat's too small. But your father's going to look after him here. And you can come and take him out for walks whenever you want.
Does he have a name?
No. You can decide what to call him.
Sandy. He's called Sandy.
The alarm goes off. They look at each other.
We need to go now.
Yes.
We'll come back tomorrow and you can see him then.
57. School.
Christopher.
Yes?
Here.
What's this?
It's your result.
Right.
You need to open it and read it.
Right.
He does.
Well, what does it say?
I got an A star.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yes.
Aren't you happy?
Yes, it's the best result.
I know it is. How's your dog?
He's very well, thank you. I stayed last week at Father's because Mother got flu, and he slept on my bed so he can bark in case anybody comes into my room at night.
Right. How are you getting along with your father?
We planted a vegetable patch in his garden. I helped him and Sandy watched. We planted carrots and peas and spinach, and I'm going to pick them when they're ready. He brought me a book which is called Further Maths for A Level. He told Mrs. Gascoyne that I'm going to take further maths next year. She said okay.
Okay.
I'm going to pass it and get an A star. And then in 2 years, I'll take A-level physics and get an A star. And then I'm going to go to university in another town. I can take Sandy, my books, and my computer. I can live in a flat with a garden and a proper toilet. Then I will get a first-class honors degree. Then I will be a scientist. I can do these things.
I hope so.
I can because I went to London on my own.
She looks at him.
I solved the mystery of who killed Wellington.
She looks at him.
I found my mother. I was brave.
You were.
And I wrote a book.
I know. I read it. We turned it into a play.
Yes. Does that mean I can do anything? Do you think? Does that mean I can do anything, Siobhan? Does that mean I can do anything?
The two look at each other for a while. Lights black. After a curtain call, Christopher returns to the stage. He gets the attention of anybody still in the audience, if even it is just one person. He thanks them for saying. Using as much theatricality as we can to throw at it, using music, lights, sound, lasers, the boxes, the train tracks, the rest of the company, the orchestra, the fucking ushers for Christ's sake, using dance, songs, bells, whistles, the works. He proves himself. He proves by means of a counterexample that a triangle with the sides that can be written in the form n squared plus 1, n squared minus 1, and 2n, where n is greater than 1, is right-angled. End of the play. Am I still reading?
No.
Okay.
You're not gonna make him solve the equation?
Solve it, chicken boy.
No, I answered the question on my maths A level. Siobhan said it wouldn't be very interesting, but I said it was. She didn't tell me what I should use, so I decided to use all the machines and computers in the theater, including VL 3500 arc lights, which are moving lights, light emitting diodes, Meyer MSL2 speakers, a DPA boom mic, and Sennheiser radio transmitter, and 4 PTD 20KS Panasonic overhead projectors. I had 2 hours to answer 19 questions, but I spent 38 minutes doing moaning and groaning, which meant I only had 4 minutes to answer this question.
The timer is projected, displaying 4 seconds.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Show that a triangle with sides. Show that a triangle with sides that can be written in the form n squared plus 1, n squared minus 1, and 2n, where n is bigger than 1, is right angled, and this is what I wrote.
Christopher runs and starts the timer.
Start the clock.
A right-angled triangle was made using a projection or lasers if you have the money, or holograms in the future.
If a triangle is right-angled, one of its angles will be 90 degrees. Well, therefore, follow Pythagoras' theorem. Pythagoras says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. To put it simply, if you draw squares outside the 3 sides of a right-angled triangle, they add up to the area of 2 smaller squares. This will be equal to the area of the larger square. This is only true if the triangle is right-angled. Come on, Bluey. The A-level question is an algebraic formula for making right-angled triangles. N squared plus 1 is the biggest number in this question, which makes it
in this equation.
In this equation, which makes it in the hypotenuse, which is the
Y'all, he hasn't had geometry yet.
Longest side of the triangle. To find the area of a square, you must multiply the length by the width. So there's the area of the square, 2n x 2n or times 2n, which equals 4n squared. The area of the square is n squared minus 1 times n squared minus 1, which equals n squared minus 2n squared plus 1. Now if we add these 2 squares together, this equals n squared plus 2n squared plus 1. Now we read to find the area of the square of the hypotenuse, which is n squared plus 1 times n squared plus 1, which equals 4 squared plus 2n squared plus 1, which is the same term. So the area of the 2 small squares adds up to the area of the larger square. So all my squares fit together to satisfy Pythagoras' theorem. So the triangle is right angled. And that is how I got the A star.
Confetti. High five, buddy.